All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Credit Concept Podcast. I am your host, Credit Coach Nicole Scott. Today we're going to be doing things a little bit different. So if you are listening to this on any other platform besides YouTube, you can actually head to my YouTube channel and watch the live video because we are going to be recording this live and using it in our Credit Concept podcast. So this is going to be the introduction to business credit. So if you are someone that is looking to start a business, looking to eventually build business credit, or maybe you are already in business and you are looking to build business credit for your established business, you're tired of using your cash, you want to use credit, right? You want to leverage credit, which you totally should be. So let's get into it, guys. In today's episode of the Credit Concept Podcast, we're going to be talking about some tips and tricks when it comes to the introduction to business credit. We're going to keep it super simple for you guys. So literally anybody could build business credit. You don't need to pay someone to do it for you. You can do it. Is it time consuming? Absolutely. But I'm giving you all of the tools that you need in order to take action. If you decide to hire someone because you simply just don't have the time, of course, that's your decision, and that's what people are here for. I personally do not build business credit, but I have a lot of partners that I can refer you to out there. I provide credit coaching, and we also provide credit restoration on the personal side. But I do business coaching, credit coaching for personal credit and for business credit. So I am teaching you guys how to fish, and you guys can eat for life, because of course you can apply these same concepts to multiple businesses and just keep on rinsing and repeat. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and let's get started. And before we go any further, I just want to make sure that you guys have subscribed to my YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. I greatly appreciate it because your engagement with my content will help it reach a wider audience. So without your support, I can't grow. So I need you guys to share, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. All right, so let's talk about the introduction to business credit. What are some of the things that you need in order to start building business credit? And how do you do it all, right? Because there's so many different methods out there. And I always like to say there are a million ways to skin a cat. However, I'm not going to do it a million ways. I'm going to take lessons from the person that was able to complete the task most efficiently and fast, right? But efficient is the number one. Fast, if you want fast results, I'm sorry, but you are going to be sold a dream, okay? There is a lot of information out there, don't get me wrong, and some people do very right by their information, and some maybe not so much. It could be a little questionable, right? So if you are looking for fast, you got to slow down. You got to take your time. You got to map this stuff out, and you have to make sure that your foundation is set up properly, okay? Because you can have great personal credit and go and apply for business credit and still get declined for things. I hear it all the time. So that's why I always tell people there is a method to this madness, whether you like to believe it or not. Many people throw SHIT against the wall and see if it's going to stick. That's one way of doing it. Is it efficient? Absolutely not, right? Because it could cost you a lot of money with those mistakes and wasted time. So if you're anything like myself, I like to learn from people that have actually done it themselves, like myself now. But before I was creating content on YouTube, I was also a student on YouTube, sitting at my 9-to-5 desk, Monday through Friday, sitting in traffic, listening to people on YouTube like Credit Plug and Nicole Randall, and some of these other folks that used to talk about credit and still do to this day. Shout out to Credit Plug, because he's one of the people that helped me learn about so many different credit products out there. And honestly, he's just a genuine person like myself, so I can see a lot of value in the content. But I wanted to create content for you guys to get a little bit deeper dive into personal credit and into business credit, so that way you guys can make educated decisions moving forward, and you don't need to necessarily pay someone. I get paid by YouTube, so the more that you guys watch my videos, that's all that I can ask for. Like, subscribe, and share so more people can watch. So let's get into the Business Credit 101. There are some basic housekeeping that we want to go over before we can get into the nitty-gritty of it all. Of course, there are different types of business structures. There are LLCs, there are corporations, whether that is an S Corp or a C Corp. There are nonprofit corporations, there are partnerships, there are limited liability partnerships, there are limited liability corporations, there are sole proprietorships. So anybody that has an EIN, which is your business's social security number, that is going to be what is actually your business is formed of, right? Whether you have registered it as a sole proprietorship, an LLC, or a corporation. Now, if I could give my recommendation, now I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a CPA, I don't give legal advice, I just give advice based on real life scenarios, education, and my experience, and of course, you know, what I would do if I were in your shoes, right? If I were in your shoes based on your business, I would either look into creating a S Corp, C Corp, or an LLC. Those are the three type of business formations that are probably most common. I've also helped people start nonprofit corporations. But, you know, when it comes to nonprofit corporations, I would say that might be something that you want to start a little bit down the line, or maybe start a nonprofit plus, you know, a for-profit, because you could run into funding, funding blocks down the road when you go to get funding with a nonprofit corporation. So let's get into it. The foundation is something that you guys are really going to make sure that is solid, because you want to make sure that you have your business, the ground floor laid, right? Your foundation, the cement, what's going to hold it all together, right? And you don't need to overthink this process. I personally use 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁. I love 𝗥𝗲𝗹. Why? Because they do everything for you. It's super simple. They keep you organized. When you are up for any sort of renewals, or you need to file your annual report, which can easily get away from you, they're sending you notifications, and they're making sure that you stay compliant so you can stay in good standing with the Secretary of State. Now, can you do all of this on your own? Absolutely, but why not streamline it with someone like 𝗥𝗲𝗹 that can do everything for you? They are the experts. This is what they do. And you can file your corporation in whatever state you would like. So, I'm not a tax advisor. Like I said, I don't give legal advice, but some of the more popular states to start a business because of the state tax are places like Florida, Wyoming, Delaware, Washington, Alaska, Texas. So I have started a LLC and corporations in different states. Nevada is another one that's very popular. If you're in California, obviously it's very expensive to do business out here and to have, corporations or LLCs. So a lot of people will start their business in another state. Like myself, I did Wyoming, I did Delaware. I've had a Nevada business in the past, back in the day. So those are some places that you can choose to start a business if funds are tight and you're like, look, I can't afford California prices, right? I feel you. I live out here. I know. No judgment here, right? But those are some alternatives for you. And with 𝗥𝗲𝗹, They will literally do everything for you. They'll file all of the paperwork with the state. They'll make sure that everything looks good before they submit it to the state. And for a little extra, I think if you say no first and then you say yes, they'll do everything, including getting your EIN from the IRS. I think it's maybe like an additional charge of maybe, I don't know. It's been a while since I've started a business, but if you purchase my course, we literally walk through the entire process. So I have a credit course and a business credit course, and I walk through starting my business. So I recommend starting multiple businesses or starting a business every couple months. Let it age. That's what a shelf corporation is. And with 𝗥𝗏𝗏, they'll help you stay compliant, right? So I use 𝗥𝗏𝗏 to start all of my businesses, and then I use a virtual office like Opus, where I can get my business address and my business telephone number for $99 a month. And Opus will also help you build business credit because they report as a trade line to some of the business credit bureaus. Generally, it's not Dun & Bradstreet and it's not the major ones, but they do report to PayNet, and hopefully they will start reporting to more as time grows, right? But I've been using Opus now for over 15 years. When I was in the home security industry back, probably 5-6 years ago, I was in that industry for over 10 years. We started multiple business satellite offices in different states using Opus. Only thing you want to do is just Google the address, make sure it comes up as a legitimate address. And you also want to check the address on the USPS postal website. I'm sorry, I can't talk today. But you want to check the address and make sure that it's not labeled as a mail receiving location, because we don't want anything that's mail receiving. We want, an actual physical business location. We do not want a UPS store. We do not want, any sort of P.O. box, postal annex, any sort of P.O. box that when you Google it, it clearly is a P.O. box where someone would just go pick up their mail. We do not want that. So we actually want a physical office, a brick and mortar location. If you have any small businesses in your area that have a brick and mortar location and they're willing to rent a mailbox to you for, $50, $100 a month, something like that, hey, I would do it. The only difference is that it has to have a different suite number. So if they are, 3500 West Street, you would need to be 3500 West Street, Suite B, or, room 200 or something like that, different suite number, because that's what's going to differentiate your address. You cannot have two businesses using the same suite number, because that's a big no-no. Okay. So you want to make sure that you have your business address, your business name. Okay. And you want to make sure that your name is exactly the same everywhere, online, your marketing, everywhere, right? Exactly how it is registered with the Secretary of State is how you should list your business with everywhere else. Okay. Make sure even if you put LLC at the end, that's how you list your business. However it shows with the Secretary of State, that's how you want to list it, okay? Especially on your business website. And that brings me to another thing, is you want to have your business email. Okay, so you want to buy a business domain name. And what a domain name is just, NicoleScott.com. Okay, creditcoachNicoleScott.com, which is my actual real website. So you can head over to my website, Credit Coach Nicole Scott, and check out my website, NicoleScott.com. So CreditCoachNicoleScott.com is my business domain name. That's my website, right? But you can also get email addresses from your domain. So you can get info@creditcoachnicolescott.com, right? Just an example. I don't use that email, but you want to get a business domain name and a business email address. Now, you can buy a domain name from anywhere out there. I personally would recommend either Google or GoDaddy. Bluehost is another one that's pretty popular. But anybody that you can get a cheap domain name from, www.yourwebsite.com, right? You want a professional website, and then you also want to make sure that you get an email address, a professional business email, which can be support@yourbusinessdomainname.com, right? Or your name, Nicole@yourbusinessaddress.com, right? I recommend sticking with the .coms. All right, just to make sure that we are on the same page. Recap, okay? Business telephone number, you can get that with Opus. If you don't want to use Opus for your business telephone number, now, by the way, Opus is $99 a month for your business telephone number and your business address. So it's a package deal. So I would recommend just using the package deal for a few months until you have a need for another business telephone number. You can, once you get the telephone number, you can transfer it to another phone provider. That's what I did. I started off with Opus, but I outgrew them. And once I outgrew them, I've used Ring Central, I've used Vonage. I'm now using, another CRM that has a phone system inside of it. But again, you want to make sure that you have that business telephone number. And you can, of course, transfer the number once you have it established, because I'm sure you're going to be listing it online and you want to keep that business telephone number. And that's why I don't recommend using some of these like online platforms that will just give you, a virtual number. You want to actually have a real business telephone number so that way you can have it long term. Okay. Business name, you want to make sure that you list your name exactly the way that you have it on the Secretary of State when it comes to the commas and any dots or periods or whatever the case may be. You want to make sure that however you have your business name listed with the Secretary of State, that is how you will list it and advertise it and have it on your website and list it online, and make sure that it's consistent all the way around, okay? So you want to make sure that it is accurate everywhere, okay? Business email, we went over that, very simple. Just create an email. I personally recommend, now this is a pro tip, this is a gem, make sure that you listen to this. Okay, now think about this, business email. You want this to be something long-term. The email doesn't necessarily have to match your domain name, because sometimes we have all these crazy domain names, right? But say you want your email to be something, as long as it's professional, like, info@superstar.com, something like that, right? But I recommend you keep your email addresses short. They don't need to be the exact business name. Now, I have different email addresses. I have Nicole@𝗖𝗿𝗲𝗋. Obviously, that's not my business name, but it's a professional business address. So you can have Nicole@NicoleScott.com. That's a great example, right? But you want to keep it short and simple. I see people with these extremely long email addresses, and I'm like, dude, the likelihood of someone totally butchering that and misspelling it before you get the email is very likely. So you want to keep your email addresses very short and simple. You can even do info@coachns.com, right? Instead of me spelling out Credit Coach Nicole Scott, I can say info@creditcoachns.com. Something short, something that people are not going to misspell, something very easy. I always recommend something that, if you told it to me, I would be able to remember it. Oh, info@creditcoach.com. Okay. Or info@constructionheroes.com. Okay. Even that one's a little long. So we want to try to shorten our email addresses as much as possible to make sure that, obviously no one misspells them. And if you do have a business name that can be easily misspelled, then maybe you can consider getting a domain name that would, represent your industry and not so much, your exact business name. Your domain names do not need to match it. So if you are a digital marketing agency, maybe your agency's name is, Super Websites or something, right? You don't need to have a domain name to match that. You can get a domain name like bestwebsites.com or something that would be for digital marketing, but not necessarily your exact business name. I hope that makes sense to you guys. But back to the business address. Again, we want to just make sure that wherever you list your business address, it's exactly how you have it listed with the Secretary of State. You need to do all of these things first before you go to ink.file. So I want you guys to get your business address, your business telephone number, pick out your business name, all of that before you go to ink.file. And if you are in my business credit course, you will know that you want to make sure that your business name is available by checking the Secretary of State's website. You can also use namechecker.com. So there's a few websites that you can check to make sure that the business name that you plan to use is available in that state. Okay. So I hope we are clear on that. There are, a lot of resources that you can use that are inside of my business credit course that'll help you. But for the most part right here is really just OPIS, business address, business telephone number, domain. You can use GoDaddy, you can use Google. And then as far as the business name and registering it after you have all of that established, I would recommend using ink.file. All of the links are below for those places to help you guys take action, because it is a lot easier to get business credit with a business that has been established for some time, whether you have generated income or not. Another pro tip. So even if you say, look, hey, Nicole, I don't want to start a business today. I got a lot going on. Like, it's just not in my forecast this year. That's okay. Let's get it started. Let's get your EIN number established and let's start aging that business, because what a lot of people do is they will sell shelf corporations, aged corporations, so people can get funding on them easier. Now, is that against the law? I mean, it's really yet to be determined. If you're using it for, fraudulent purposes, then of course. And that's why I always recommend going the organic route, which is building it yourself, because you can rinse and repeat this process as many times as you want. So if you want to start 10 different corporations or 10 different LLCs, you can do it. Okay, there's no limit, and you can have a great personal credit profile that you can personally guarantee for your different businesses. Now, some banks are going to cap your social number, but for the most part, you are going to be able to have as much business funding as you need based on the way that your business is structured and, of course, your personal credit. Now, of course, there are different factors involved, but we'll get to all of those things as time progresses. Let's talk about some more foundational setup items that we need to be checking off our list to make sure that that concrete on our foundation is super solid. Okay. So once we have kind of, all of the things that we discussed before, right? Now we've set up everything using ink.file. They've gotten our EIN number, and keep in mind, like when you set up through ink.file, everything is literally right there in the portal. And the reason why I love it is because sometimes I'm very busy and I forget to renew some of my businesses, and they will help you stay on track. And you get a registered agent for free for a year, your first year. So I really like them. So use the link below. It helps support our channel, no additional cost to you. And same thing with Opus. You can actually save $100 off of the setup fee. I forgot to tell you guys that. So if you use the link below, you can actually save some money, and it helps support our channel. So we've got our EIN, which is our social security number for our business, right? It's basically the tax identifying number, and the EIN stands for the employer identification number, EIN. And it's basically the same thing as the tax ID number, okay? And you'll receive a letter in the mail from the IRS. It's got that form on it. And of course, 𝗥𝗏𝗨 being so awesome, they will have that uploaded to your portal. So if you do get that letter in the mail, you want to make sure that you scan it and upload it to a, safe place. I use Google Drive to keep everything organized. So you want to scan it, make a digital copy, and keep it in your corporation binder. You need to have a binder that has all of your corporate documents or LLC documents or business formation in that binder. So you are organized, right? You can literally take that binder to the bank and it's going to speak volume because you're going to have everything in there super organized, super professional, okay? And it doesn't necessarily need to be a 3-ring binder, but it needs to be some sort of presentation that looks really professional, okay? And that way you can have everything in there. They need the EIN document. They need your banking resolution documents. Everything is right there, super organized, right? So you want to get your EIN, and then, of course, you want to make sure that you have elected the right type of corporation, whether that be S Corp, C Corp, LLC, and putting those identifiers in the business name as far as LLC or INC. Again, those are things that 𝗥𝗏𝗨 can help you with because some states will require that you have the word LLC or Inc. in your business so they can obviously identify you easier. Now, you want to make sure that you have the proper licenses for your business. Some businesses are not going to require any sort of license. Some of those businesses are like e-com, there's not really some sort of license that you're going to need for that. But if you have construction or, any other sort of, business that is going to require any sort of federal or state license, you're going to need to make sure that you've applied for the proper licensing for your business and you get that completed. You want to make sure that you have a business bank account. Okay, that's very important. You do not want to commingle your funds, personal and business. You want to go ahead and open up some business bank accounts. I always recommend doing the build, break, build, right? And what I mean by that is we're going to build up, and you can use this for this concept. This is the credit concept behind it, right? But you can always build like 3 banks, build with 3 banks, take a break, right? Let those season, let those marinate. We're grooming our banks, right? We're building relationships. We're grooming them to get the funding that we need from them. And then that should be like about a 6-month period. And then we build again. So it's kind of rinse and repeat. But when we're first building, we want to select a couple banks. I recommend a credit union. I recommend a community bank. And I also recommend a national bank. Chase, Bank of America. Those are some of my favorite as far as the national banks go. They're on every street corner. Most people have heard of them, right? And then we have our smaller little community banks, which might be, a hole in the wall, right? We would have never thought that we would ever have a bank account with this bank. But they're great because a lot of those small community banks, guess what? They specialize in helping the local community. And if you are a business owner that is helping the community, right? Because we all solve a problem, right? And that's what business is all about, is how can you help people, right? How can you help your community? We all solve a problem, but you need to let the world know what problem you solve or what you are good at doing, right? And that's why a lot of people are like, well, I want to start a business, but I really don't know what type of business I want to start, right? You have to do what you love. So ask yourself, how do you help people? What benefit can you provide to people? And if that's cooking, if that's cleaning, if that's organizing, if that's helping with credit, if that's helping them with their business, operations, systems, processes, digital marketing, e-com, the list goes on, right? I'm not going to bore you with all of that, but you got to do what you love and you'll never feel like you're working, right? I work every day, 7 days a week. Do I feel like I work every day? No, right? But it's rewarding because I'm helping people. I'm literally seeing people being able to change their lives right in front of me. And the value that I'm able to provide people makes me feel good. I can sleep good at night, right? Because I'm helping people. I know I'm making a difference. I know my voice is being heard. And that's why it's so important for you guys to share this information with people on social media so they can learn and be able to fish and eat for life, right? I'm not really into doing all of this for people because it's so easy to do. Number one, yes, it's time consuming, but it's easy. The concept behind it is very easy. I want you guys to be successful long term. And I know everyone wants this short, microwavable success that comes instantly, but that type of success is not sustainable. The real type of success is those who put the work in. Okay, whether that takes a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Most businesses are going to go out of business within the first year. So that's why the banks are very, I would say, they're going to kind of leery, they're looking at newer businesses like they are high risk. So, I always want people to understand the concept behind everything so they can put together a game plan that's going to work good for them, right? Because everyone's different. But I also want you guys to be realistic about timing, right? Because time is everything with credit. It really is. And it's not a fast process. There's nothing fast about personal credit or business credit. It's something that we have to have patience with. And if you need it super bad, chances are you're probably not going to get it. But if you don't really need it and you're just doing this plan strategically, chances are you're probably going to get it. And then you can use it when you really need it. You don't have to use the credit right away. I mean, of course it's there, but use it responsibly so that way you can invest in your business and grow and build your brand, okay? And I know I kind of go off on a tangent sometimes, guys, but just bear with me. And if you have not by now, please do yourself a favor and me. I greatly appreciate it. If you could like, subscribe, and of course, comment. Let me know if you have found value in this information. Okay. So we went over the business bank account and of course the business website. Now, if you do need a business website, this is something that I can help you with. And there is a section in my business course, my business credit course, that literally shows you how to build your own website. I recommend using Wix. It is very easy. You just need a simple website. It can be a simple 5-page website that just kind of gives, some basic information about your business. Now, there are some pro tips that I'm going to drop on you guys. So I want to make sure this doesn't go over your head. Now, say you are a high risk business. What would be considered a high risk? Maybe that's a trucking business or a credit repair business, right? Both are high risk. You probably want to have 2 websites. One website that you actually give to your clients and the people that pay you that is a little bit more defined and clear as far as what you do, who you help, and how to sign up and how to purchase, right? But you want to have your, I would call, dummy website. And I say this in the nicest way possible because sometimes you have to protect yourself, right? Sometimes when it comes to funding, you want to be kind of vague a little bit, and you definitely don't want to be high risk, because if a bank comes to your website and they see that you are in trucking or that you are in credit repair, it might be an automatic no because of the risk that is involved with that industry. But if you are a logistics company or you are a consulting company, all of a sudden you are taken out of that high risk bucket. Okay. And that is what's so important when it comes to the foundation. And we'll get to picking out your NAICS code and categorizing yourself, but you don't want to bucket yourself into a high risk category, because it's automatically going to cause issues off the rip. And we don't need that. So it's really important for you guys, when you're choosing your business name, to select something very vague, right? If I see your business, I don't need to know what your business does. So it doesn't need to be Nicole's Credit Repair, right? It can be Nicole's Consulting. That's a great alternative. It does not need to be Nicole's Trucking, Nicole and Daughter's Trucking. It should be Logistics by Nicole, or, Nicole Enterprises, something that is totally vague, right? And that's why if you're going to, use something that's within your industry in your business name, stick to consulting, management, something that's low risk, right? And if you need more help, you can always schedule a coaching call and we can go over some of the, reasoning behind that. So that's one thing that I do specialize in, is helping people one-on-one, because there's a lot of group coaching programs and mentorship programs out there. But I have found it to be more beneficial for people for me to provide one-on-one coaching with them, so we can address some of their issues and dive deep into their actual business. Because I've worked with a lot of different types of business owners, from credit repair to credit coaching. That's, my niche. I help a lot of people in that industry. I've also worked with a lot of people in the logistics world, trucking and dispatching, e-com. I've worked with people that own salons, that do hair, that do nails. So there's a ton of different, industries that I've worked with. So it's really important for us to kind of stay in that low risk type of niche and, have that backup website that kind of, nothing is high risk. It looks beautiful to the banks, right? It is a bank ready website. That's what we are looking for. Because I have literally had clients that have signed up for different bank accounts with different financial institutions, Navy Federal being one of them, and they were denied because Navy Federal does not work with any credit companies. So if you are in the credit industry, credit coach, credit repair, credit anything, business credit, anything credit related, that is one of the industries that Navy Federal does not work with. So if they see the word credit on your website, it is automatically a no-go. They will kill you right there. Hey, we don't work with credit companies. Sorry, you don't qualify. Okay, so that's, unfortunate, but it is something very real. So when I tell you guys this, I hope that you guys are really processing this information. And if you have to watch it twice, watch the video multiple times. So I hope we're all clear on the business entity and just some of the foundational measures that we want to take as business owners, because we do not want to rush the process, right? If you don't fully understand the process, you need coaching. And that is something that I invested a lot in when I first started my business, because even though I have been in business and I have been in business operations for the last 20 years, I still felt like I needed some guidance. We are never going to know everything. I don't know everything. You don't know everything. Nobody knows everything, right? But, we can find people that can help educate us and teach us different things. I have learned something from everyone that I have invested in, whether it was at, 1% or whether it was at 80% or whether I just learned everything, right? whatever it is, you have your takeaways and you're going to learn. And that is what you have to do before you earn, is you have to learn. Okay. And sometimes it's an investment. You're investing in yourself so that way you can be successful long term. If I didn't have, those investments, if I didn't invest in my credit education, I wouldn't be recording this video right now, right? And to be honest with you, I was petrified of the camera. I could not be on camera for the life of me, let alone, try to write a script and read it and sound like normal. Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible, right? But the one thing that we have to learn is we're never going to be perfect, okay? And you get better over time. Over time, once we learn, we get more comfortable with things. Of course, we get better with it, just like riding a bike, okay? But you got to get on the thing. You got to get in the saddle. You got to learn, okay? So let's talk about some of the business credit reports and, how that all works, right? So the biggest factor when it comes to getting funding is, your credit, right? And that is going to be a factor on the personal side and on the business side. And I know you're probably saying, well, Nicole, I don't want to use my personal credit. Well, in this day and age, it is 2023. We're halfway through the year in 2023. So it is June of 2023. The no PG days are very far and few in between nowadays. I'm going to just be honest with you, right? Now, unless you have one of the other contributing factors when it comes to business credit. So you're going to need one of the 3 C's: cash, collateral, or the big one, credit, right? We're going to need one of those 3 C's. If we don't have one of those 3 C's, the likelihood of us getting funding is just dropped significantly, okay? And sometimes we're going to need credit and cash, or sometimes we're going to need credit and collateral, right? It all depends on what type of funding you're going after, because there's so much funding out there. But the easiest funding for you to get as a newer business is business credit cards, 0% business credit cards. And, if you try to go to a funding company and have them do all of this for you, this is exactly what they're going to do. So this is what I teach you guys. This is what I show you guys. Do I charge a success fee? Absolutely not. Okay. I get that question a lot. Well, how much do I have to pay you to show me how to get funding? Nothing. You're paying for coaching. You're paying to learn this information. It's also, a lot of this information is inside of my business credit course. So if you have not purchased the business credit course, you need to purchase the business credit course and actually take the time to go through it. Okay. Now, if you purchase the business coaching, whether it's personal coaching or business credit coaching, the coaching includes the personal credit course and the business credit course. So right now we have a special going on where you can get 6 sessions plus, and those are one-on-one recorded live on Zoom, plus that includes all of my courses, the business credit course, the personal credit course, and of course the Turo rental car course. So if you want to start a rental car business, that you definitely want to check out. And the link is below for that. So it is on sale right now. I'm not going to tell you how much it is because it is literally so low. People are literally charging like $5,000 for this. My program is not even $2,000. Okay. I put it on sale for you guys. I made it affordable. We have payment plans. Book a call if you want to learn more, but don't book a call unless you have the money to invest in yourself. Okay. If you want to do a payment plan, the lowest payment plans that we're able to do are $500. Okay. You can do 3 payments of $500. Okay. And that is going to at least get you started. So let's get back to this business credit reports history. You want to make sure when you start building business credit, you pay everything on time. So that timely payments on the personal side and the business side, that is the number one factor when it comes to credit, right? Especially on the business side, because there are no buffer days. So on the personal side, we have 30 days to pay our credit card bill before it actually reports 30 days late. Same with our car notes and, most of the credit accounts that are on our personal side. But when it comes to the business side, if we pay that bad boy late, it's game over. Okay. There are no buffer days. Once you are, 31 days past the term, you are now 1 day late. Okay. Because generally you're going to have 30 days to pay the account balance if it's a net 30. If your terms are net 30, meaning you have 30 days to pay from the time that they invoiced you. If it's net 60, you have 60 days to pay. But it's extremely important when you are first starting out. When you get that invoice, just pay it, okay? Don't wait. You don't need to wait. Just pay the invoice. Make sure that it is received, it is paid, it is good to go, because you want that company to report to the credit bureaus that you paid early. That's how people get a higher number on their credit reports for the business side. So Paydex, the IntelliScore with Experian, there's, obviously the Equifax delinquency score, but all of those are really determined based on, are you paying your bills on time? Are there vendors that are saying that, yes, they pay on time? We don't have to worry about them. They're not a risk to us, right? So some of the other things that are going to be important are, how much age you have on your credit reports. That's going to be important. Now, typically, trade lines for the business, they're only going to stay on your report for 2 years. So it's a little bit different. Business credit comes a lot faster than personal credit, right? So you want to just have that basic understanding that, when you are building business credit, a lot of the information that's going to end up on your credit reports on the business side is going to be the information that you provide to that creditor, whether it's Quill or Grainger or Uline or whomever you're opening that account with. They are going to be the ones to report that information to the credit bureau. So a lot of times people say, oh, I have misspellings or this or that. Well, you need to make sure all of that information is updated, because you want everything that is reported to the credit bureaus to be 100% accurate. Okay. So you want to have at least 5 tier 1 accounts, and the different tiers are kind of, I wouldn't say you have to follow it like strictly. I would say the goal is to have 15 business trade lines. So I always say, just for simple purposes, select 5 from that tier 1 area, right? You get yourself established. And generally that tier 1 area is going to be your vendor accounts, your Quill, your Grainger, your Uline, whatever you can use for your business that is with a vendor that is a net 30 or net 60, or even a net 90 if you have it. But generally they're net 30s. They are going to report to the business credit bureaus, right? NAV, that's another one that's really good. Credit Strong, if you haven't watched that video, make sure that you've watched that video on my YouTube channel, because you can get up to a $25,000 business trade line and personal trade line to help you build credit. And it's kind of like a savings account. So 5 from tier 1, 5 from tier 2. The tier 2 are going to be more towards like the divvies, the gas cards, the store cards. Try to get 5 of those. And then we want to move on to the tier 3, which are going to be more or less, we're starting to get into more of the credit cards and the revolving lines of credit, right? Hopefully you can get a couple revolving lines of credit in your tier 2 from your stores. I know Office Depot, they have a revolving line of a revolving credit card that you can get. A lot of the gas cards are revolving. The Shell small business gas card, that's one of my personal favorites, because they give a little bit higher limits. And it's not a charge card. So if you don't know the difference, charge card, like, most of these net 30 accounts, they maybe same thing as a charge card, because you have to pay the full account balance within 30 days, right? Same thing, same concept, charge and net 30. And, that's why it's so important for you to understand your terms, because like, for example, a lot of people say, oh, well, I got a business credit card with Divvy. Oh, great. Capital on top. Oh, great. Guess what? Brex, Ramp. Those are all net 30 accounts, like basically, right? Because you have to pay the full account balance within 30 days. So it's like you're still, pretty much, on a leash. Like you can't really do much with those, as soon as you feel like you got a little bit of leverage, they're taking the money right back out of your account. So you really have to be careful when it comes to business credit and not listen to everyone that you hear. It is very important that when we are assessing our business credit, we are pulling our reports so we can see what it is that the banks are seeing when they pull our reports. If they're seeing a bunch of information that doesn't match up, we've got some issues, right? And we can correct those issues directly with the credit bureaus. But of course, we want to make sure that we're being diligent. We are signed up for, credit reports. You can sign up on the business side with Experian directly. You can get NAV. That's only going to give you so much information, but you've got your Dun & Bradstreet profile. You're keeping that up to date. You can request a copy from Equifax. If you haven't watched the Business Credit Bureau's masterclass, make sure you watch that, because that one is full of information. Okay, so we're not going to get too much into this reports, because a lot of it I went over in that video, but these are just some of the simple steps. Form your LLC. I use ink-file. You get your EIN, which is your tax ID number. Same thing. I, again, recommend doing it through ink-file, because ink-file will ask you, do you want all this extra stuff? And you can say no. And then by the time you check out, they're going to ask you again, but they're going to offer you, a discount. Oh, one last chance. Do you want to get this at a discount? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay. So they'll get you your EIN, and you can apply for the EIN for free on the IRS website. But it's, like I said, it's so much easier. It's almost worth that little extra money. And I want to say it's like $49 or something like that. It's almost worth it to have them do everything for you, so you can keep it all in one location and you can have it all super organized under your client login with ink-file. You want to open your business bank account. And again, ink-file will, if, say, for example, you left your binder at home, your corporation binder, but you want to open up a business bank account, you can literally log into ink-file and give the banker everything you need, or everything they need, in order to open up a business bank account. Because you've got, ink-file can do your banking resolution documents. They've got your letter from the IRS. They've got your, Secretary of State registration information. The only thing that the bank might need that ink-file is not going to have is they might require a certificate of good standing, which you'll have to get directly from your Secretary of State's website, which no big deal. It's usually only about like $5, something like that. And they will usually want something dated within the last 30 days or so. Business telephone number, we talked about that. You can use ink-file, or you can use a third party, but if you don't really have a lot of people calling you at this time, I would just use the business telephone number that is with ink-file. Or if you're like, hey, I just want to get this set up right from the gate, then you can use Freedom Voice, Vonage, Ring Central, whatever's going to be best fit for your business. Then, of course, you want to make sure that you get a couple business credit cards. And business credit cards are going to be the fastest and easiest way to get business funding. And I'm going to say that again. I don't care who you listen to. It is the easiest way to get business credit. Getting business cash funding is going to be a lot more difficult, and it's going to require more documents. So us as new business owners, say we're like, hey, I'm a new business owner because I recently started my business. I'm within the first 2 years. That I would say go after business credit cards. You want to go after these 0% business credit cards. Check out some of your local community banks, local credit union banks, because they often have really great credit products for local business owners. And a lot of them are like hidden little gems, you know? And you can also use the bank locator websites. I've done several videos on those where you can literally just go and view the bank branch locator and view different banks that are in your area that are giving away the most amount of money. But yeah, start off with some business credit cards. Be careful because some of these business credit cards are underwritten by the same people. For example, Elon Financial. There are a ton of different banks out there, but a lot of them are using Elon as their underwriter. So you can only get approved for, maybe 1 or 2 of those Elon Financial cards before they tap you out. So make sure you build, take a break, and then build up again. So when it comes to business credit cards, I would say you're safe with when you're doing a funding sequence, 2 credit cards per bureau. Some people push it and do 3, but I would say between 2 and 3. So maximize, you can get 9, but you can put in 2 to 3 applications per bureau. And when I say a funding sequence, I'm going to kind of break this down for you guys. So when you're doing a funding sequence, you want to bring up different browser windows, have your applications filled out for all of the banks that are going to be pulling from, say, Experian, right? And while you are applying for Experian, if you wanted to lock Equifax and lock TransUnion, you can certainly do that just to guarantee that they're only going to be pulling your personal credit from Experian. Now, some banks are now pulling personal plus business credit. So, back in the day, years ago, it was mainly personal credit. Once in a while, they would do, the IntelliScore from Experian and throw some, Dun & Bradstreet in there. But nowadays, it's really, a lot of these banks are pulling your personal credit, which is going to be required for pretty much everyone that makes under $2 million for their business. So if you are making more than $2 million, then you could possibly get away without personally guaranteeing it because you have one of those C's, which is cash flow. Okay. But if you don't have that much cash flow, you're going to need some of the other C's, which in this case, we're going to go with the credit C, using our personal credit. And if you don't have enough and last but not least, we want to start opening up relationships with suppliers. So any sort of supplier that you can use that's going to report your business transaction to the Business Credit Bureau, so that way you can start earning credit for your transactions, that is best. So if you have a suppliers that you use, but you're just not sure if they report, you can ask them, but chances are they probably don't report. So you want to try to find suppliers that do report. Sometimes you can also self-report. Dun & Bradstreet allows you to self-report, but Equifax and Experian might not let you self-report. And then, of course, there's SBFE, which is not a business bureau, but they are an association, a trade association. So again, if you guys haven't watched the Business Credit Bureau Secret Masterclass, I'll leave a link below. That one, you're going to make sure you oh my God, it's got so much information. Like, you want to make sure that you are tuning in for that entire video. And I know my videos are long, but there's just I could talk forever about this stuff, guys. I swear to you, there's so much to know in such little time. But we are going to wrap it up for this episode of the Intro to Business Credit. I know this covered a lot of information. We literally only went through 7 of our slides, so we have a lot more to go through. This was just part 1 of the Intro to Business Credit. So, I hope you guys got value, because believe me, I always wanted to become that person that I couldn't find when I was first starting out. I was like, I want to be that person that is like a one-stop shop. Like I can literally talk to them about personal credit, business credit, how to get funding, how to do this, how to do that. And I, over time, became that person. And I literally looked for someone like myself when I was first starting to learn. I was looking on YouTube. I was like, I need a coach. I need a coach. And I've paid, a lot of coaches out there, and I've, bought into a lot of high ticket mentorships, but it just really wasn't all that I wanted. I really wanted someone that specialized in personal credit and in business credit, and that was going to keep it real with me and not try to sell me on nickel and dime me on every goddamn thing and sell me on every, like, oh, you got to buy my course, plus you got to buy this, plus you got to buy that. It's like, no. So my goal is to provide you guys with value, but in return, I need you guys to like, subscribe, and share these videos on your social media. Share them with friends via text message. Share them on your Facebook. Allow more people to learn this information because it is so simple. It is literally as easy as getting signed up for the business with Opus, the address, the phone number, making sure that you're doing these, small steps, you're laying the concrete for your foundation. So it is literally going to last for years. Okay. We don't want these microwavable TV dinners. No. Okay. Do the process right. Stop being lazy. You gotta learn before you earn, okay? So again, guys, I thank you so much for tuning in today. Without you, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So thank you so much for your support. Again, guys, make sure that you have subscribed. Follow me on Instagram at Credit Coach Nicole Scott. And make sure that you've watched all of the different episodes of the Credit Concept podcast. Until next time, guys, I am your host, Credit Coach Nicole Scott, and I want you to take action.